Former public protector Thuli Madonsela will lead an expedition up Africa's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro. She'll be part of the Imbumba Foundation, participating in the Trek4Mandela Women's Day climb. She'll be accompanied by 2018 Mrs. South Africa winner Nicole Capper, who joins us now on eNCA Lunchtime. Nicole, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming in. The obvious question for those of us who wouldn't dare take this on is, why on earth are you doing it?
Good question, and seeing that it's my second time doing it, I know exactly what I'm getting myself into, and I do it primarily to set an example for my kids and to do brave things that I might never have done before. And the beauty about something like this is that it's so realistic and achievable for anybody wanting to do something significant.
This is your second climb. It'll be your second climb. How was your first time last year?
Let's just say I did not turn around and say goodbye when I left Kilimanjaro. She was very cruel to me. We had some extreme weather conditions, but I made it to Huru Peak, and it was one of the most life-changing experiences. Am
I right in saying you also tried to tackle Mount Everest at a point, and you had to be airlifted back to safety because you just became so ill?
Yes. So it was my very first experience with the mountains, and the airline lost my luggage. So I arrived in Lukla in Nepal with no luggage and no warm clothes. And when you reach base camp and you're sleeping on the ice on a glacier for 2 nights at minus 20 degrees, you suddenly realize who the ultimate mother is, and it is Mother Nature. So I got sick at base camp, having achieved the goal, but also the biggest thing I took away from that experience was a respect for the elements and a little bit of humility.
And you are quite passionate, of course, about raising awareness around rare diseases. Your daughter, I understand as well, is a sufferer, and that's quite close to your heart.
Yes, my little girl has cystic fibrosis, a rare life-limiting disease that affects the lungs, and for me to climb to altitude, I get to experience what children like her experience on a daily basis. Mine's for an adventure. Theirs is part of everyday life, and if I can create some kind of awareness around that, it's everything, but it is more than that, and that's why I've partnered with Trek4Mandela, because it's about girls. It's about getting the girl child to stay in school, providing them with sanitary pads, and for me to be able to be part of that, it's not just about my daughter, who is my world. My kids are my reason that I breathe, but here we get an opportunity to say, hey, anybody can come and be part of Trek4Mandela and help uplift the girl child.
You've been, to Kilimanjaro, and some of the people who, like you, have already been, say, the climb, what helps you, what comforts you in those moments are the people who you are with. Yes. Have you been able to connect with the group that you're going with this year? How's that going?
Yes, so obviously I know Richard Mabaso from Trek4Mandela, the CEO, and he and I climbed last year together. And it doesn't actually matter who you are if you've never met before. On a climb like this, you suddenly become family. You have one common goal, and that common goal unites you in a way that you would never anticipate. So it doesn't matter if you've met them before or not. By the end of it, you are trekking family.
You've spoken about how you, on the first climb, got to experience what children who, like your little girl, are suffering from rare diseases feel, with difficulty breathing and that sort of thing. But at a personal level also, how did that experience change you?
It made me realize my capacity. It's like an elastic band. You stretch it, it's really difficult. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. But the more you push yourself, the more you realize you can achieve. And I've set my sights on Everest 2020, and I'm engaging with some phenomenal women to be able to make that a possibility. And this is another step in that progression. What are we capable of? Why are we doing it? And maybe there's a purpose greater than fear.
And do you have a target in mind? What are you hoping to raise?
I don't have a target yet. The target is obviously to create awareness around Trek4Mandela and caring for girls. So we want to make sure that every single girl in South Africa has access to sanitary pads. And to be part of that vision is amazing.
Are you addicted to climbing now? Because I've heard it does become quite addictive.
I think I'm not good at anything. I don't have a talent. I'm not a natural swimmer or a runner. But this is realistic. You just keep going. It's about mental strength and toughness. And for me, it's about exploring the outdoors and the wilderness. And we have some of the most beautiful outdoor experiences in South Africa, right in our backyard, that we should be more grateful for. And I want to actually shine a spotlight on that too.
Lastly, let's talk about Mont Blanc, because that's also on your bucket list, if we can call it that. How's that going, and when are we taking that on?
Yes, so September, I will be departing on the 18th of September, joining the women's group that is summiting Everest 2020, and we'll be doing an ice training session in the Alps, but also climbing Mont Blanc, which is the highest peak in the Alps. It is notoriously one of the most dangerous peaks in the world because of unpredictable ice patterns, but it is about respecting nature, being humble and cautious, and learning at the same time and challenging myself.
Nicole, we look forward to seeing you when you get back. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Thembekile.
And that was former Mrs. South Africa, Nicole Capper.